I've been leaning into gratitude, particularly today, but all week. I have been grateful that in the midst of the chaos,
Hmm.
particularly in Los Angeles and surrounding areas with all the fires, um, just on the very, very cellular level, I was grateful I wasn't there. Right. Grateful that, okay, I'm safe with my animals and we're out. And then
Yeah.
it comes up with the anxiety with all of the people that I love in Los Angeles. For people who, I don't know if the majority of the listeners are in LA, but for me spending a year in LA, it's like everything is so spread out, but it's all Los
Yeah.
Angeles. And so when you
Yeah.
hear of all these different areas, you more than likely have someone in all these different areas in
Yeah.
LA.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's not just like one place. And so you're not worried about anybody. And
Right.
beyond, it's such a massive catastrophe that it's hard to just think of the people you know. It's like everybody.
That
There
part. That part. Yeah.
it's like you don't even have to know anybody to feel the weight and the devastation of sadly what's still going on in Los
Hmm.
Angeles. But for me so far, I've been able to check in with most people, and know that everyone is somewhere safe, if not
Hmm.
sound, just because
Hmm.
everything going on. But my friend, you are in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, how can you even, articulate what it's been like this past week for us?
Well, firstly, thank you for sharing. I'm glad you're in a space of gratitude. One thing I've learned that the gift of gratitude is joy. And
Yeah.
so I'm glad that you're able to find that space. And oftentimes I've shared on this podcast and in many other spaces that we choose joy anyway, and the way we get there is by way of gratitude. We don't need the permission of our storms or circumstance or even a fire to choose joy. We can still choose joy in the midst of the calamity and the destruction and the devastation. Joy can coexist with the pain. Joy can coexist with the strain and the difficulty. It's not an easy act, it is an audacious act, but it is one that can absolutely pull you from the weight of despair of reality, because the joy attached to your gratitude is also attached to a reality. And so if there's gratitude, there's a reality that you can also pull from, so the two can coexist. And so yes, last week, oh man, was really crazy. I had a huge victory on Tuesday of last week, in that I was nominated for an NAACP Image Award for for my thank you so much for my song "I Prayed for You." We talked about it the week before on how the song has been so apropos and timely and all of these things. Had no idea that the next day, literally 24 hours later, it would be a totally different series of events. Heartbroken to see the fires break out in Altadena and Pasadena and Palisades, and then to break out at random in in parts of the valley, in Kenneth, the Kenneth fire, literally 2 miles away from me, and we had to evacuate on Thursday due to the Kenneth fire outbreak that we are suspecting to be arson related, which is crazy to me. But it was already devastating seeing everybody else, losing so much and hurting in their ways. And it was heartbreaking. It was really
Mhm.
heartbreaking. It's still heartbreaking. And Eunice, we may sometimes be on two different planets in our perspectives, but our empathy is our common ground. And
Mhm.
when we see someone else hurt, we hurt.
Mhm.
And so my mind was just like, how can I help? Until I came to, and not until, but in that, I'm, figuring out ways I can reach out and provide evacuation strategies, support, communicate that. And one of the things that I voiced is catch your breath. Remember in all of it to catch your breath, because when you catch your breath, it clears your mental channels and all other things to allow for you to invite whatever wisdom or insight or best strategy or best movement for the next move. But oftentimes in moments of high excitement and anxiety, it's hard to think to catch your breath and realize the value of catching your breath. But I found myself wrestling with it in real
Right.
time when we got the alerts. Um, that was freaky, because I'm
Yeah.
like, I just told everybody, that was dealing with how to catch your breath and have a plan. And we had our to go bag and things. And then I'm like, wait, but I'm going to need this and I'll definitely need this. And there are certain things that I was thinking to grab. And I know we're going to get into our topic for today, which can go hand in hand with this. But let me tell you, it was something scary. We drove up north outside of the danger zone and ended up in Bakersfield. Not as glamorous as the area that I'm
Did you
used
know
to.
that you were going to Bakersfield, or you just got there and stopped?
No, okay. So we were planning on going to my brother's space in Visalia, which is heading towards, I think, Fresno. And that was going to, what would be a 3-hour drive was now going to be 5 hours. And I was like, we're not driving 5 hours. I just can't do it. I thank God for, the ability to drive and to evacuate, but I can't do the 5 hours. And so we landed at first in, what town was that? Franklin, Franklin, California. And that was more truck stop area. And even the cop said, yeah, this ain't where you want to be. And
This
so
ain't the spot.
this ain't it. They had a Holiday Inn and a Motel 6. And I'm not too good to stay at either. But if I have options, I won't stay at either. Um,
Okay.
did you hear that?
No, you froze up. You said they had a Holiday Inn Express and a what?
And a Motel 6.
Okay,
And
well, I would go with the Holiday Inn
but
Express.
listen, I'm not too good to stay at either. But if given the opportunity to not stay at
But
either,
when running from a fire, you still have standards, is what you're saying.
no, 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 no.
That's
Listen,
what you said. That's what you said.
if that was the only option, absolutely, absolutely. And I've seen the commercials. Motel 6 is kicking butt these days, but
They
that
leave
ain't.
the light on for you.
Ah! Oh my gosh. And so we ended up in Bakersfield. It had a lot more, community and common scenery, familiar scenery. And so we stayed out there. But it was creepy. It was scary. It was crazy. Like 1 minute people are checking in and you're like, no, we're safe. We're keeping an eye out. And then alerts. Evacuate, 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 evacuate. And I was
Wow.
just like, God, this is different.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, seeing so many hundreds of thousands of people
Mhm.
being displaced, having to evacuate. Like I said, for me, my first thing was I was just grateful that I wasn't having to figure that out because,
Yeah.
it's one thing to watch it, it's another thing to be in it. I think even just for me, my experience in Los Angeles, just if it was a Tuesday, it felt stressful. It was
Right.
just like,
Right.
what are y'all
Right.
doing? So I can only imagine, if you're trying to drive somewhere. Also, if you don't have the resources to get somewhere and sit and stay, or if you didn't have a tank of gas and they price gouged the gas and is now $9 a gallon and you weren't going to get paid till next Tuesday and you had managed your, like, it's a lot of variables to go into
Yeah,
just being
that
able
we
to
don't think
evacuate.
about, that
Yeah.
we do not consider
Yeah.
in the evacuation process when you're in it in real time. That's why I was grateful that people gave pre-strategy for those that needed to prepare. Of course, those that had to in real time at the start of the fires, they didn't have that in mind because they
Right.
weren't
Right.
expecting it. But for those of us that had a day or two to think about it, it still was a lot. in real time because yeah, you're gas.
Mhm.
We were in the car and it was halfway and I'm like, why do we just have half a tank? And it's like all of these things that you're not making a big deal of any other time that are more serious. And
Mhm.
whew,
And,
I'm grateful
I
to
was
be
reading
back
where
home.
people, like a lot of the Tesla charging stations were down, and so people couldn't even charge their cars. So many electric vehicles out there in California. So I just was thinking, like, I really have stopped consuming it at this point, just for my own mental health, because you can't imagine what that must be like. And then being an empath and a chronically empathetic person, not only not being able to imagine the despair of everyone, whether you lost everything or not, it's just a desperate situation. Then you pile on to people who act like certain people deserve destruction and devastation. And so then that's heartbreaking in a whole nother way. And then when you realize, wow, a lot of these fires were set, and then you realize people are looting, evacuating. It's like I've been so disappointed in humans but for so far this year, that's the only way I can really describe it. I just feel like
Well,
disappointed in everybody. I
I
really do.
no, 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 no,
That's
no,
how I
no.
feel. It is.
No, not everybody. Because what if you really have paid attention as well, you'll also see how much community that has come together. Did you catch that?
Do that again. I said, who should I not be disappointed in?
I'm just saying if you've really been tracking the movement, you will see that there are quite a few people that have assembled in community
Hmm.
as a result of this. There have been some loud voices of great judgment, but there has also been some loud unification that has taken place where you start to see the heart of humanity does exist in the midst of the evils of humanity, the ills of humanity. Like the both are coexisting right now. And I'm seeing so many on the ground out here. I don't, maybe from your algorithm or even from seeing it in Alabama, they're not highlighting it as much, but it's a lot of community that's happening here. And even you know learning like that Mexico sent firefighters,
All right. South
South
Africa,
Africa
Canada.
sent
Yeah.
firefighters, Canada, like that's community. And what often happens is the highlight of the negativity ends up being the biggest
Right, well,
bull,
that
having the
becomes the
biggest
headline, right?
bullhorn.
That I'm
Yeah,
disappointed that when everyone is having this devastation, people wanna blame somebody that
yeah,
is not to blame or, wanna make something political. It's like, "Hey, people's lives have burned down. People have
yes,
lost their lives. People have lost everything they own. They don't have insurance,
yes,
because the insurance company left California last year." And even the thing with the insurance, that is a great example of I've heard conspiracy theories. I don't think it's a conspiracy theory why the insurance companies dropped most people from their fire coverage. It's because California has wildfires, and an
yes.
insurance company cannot pay all the claims and stay in business and be profitable. And so it's like, hey, there's no money for us to make from offering this product in this state. And so it was just a perfect storm of the Santa Ana winds, 80-mile-per-hour winds, and then also some idiots, also mixed in there for good measure.
Yeah.
But I try to believe, I've seen a lot of community, I've seen a lot of resources posted for people. I have seen that as well. But when I say I'm disappointed in everybody, one apple does spoil the bunch for me. It's like humans right now for me. I'm like I just don't get it. Where well, celebrities they should have everything burned down, or you're rich, or and it's like that's another misnomer I think also for Los Angeles. The majority of people in Los Angeles are hand to mouth, check to check, making it happen day by day, week by
And
week,
if it's not check to check, it's check to the next check after
check
that
to
check.
prayer
Like
to
it's
check.
listen, it is it is
Yes.
it is very very real, and a lot of people have a misconception, and I think that's much to the gloss, pomp, and circumstance that Hollywood has done a brilliant job at
Yeah.
conveying. I think we could do a better job at showing our humanity, which I think happened by way of COVID. The pandemic started to show humanity when everyone from the Oprahs to the Ellens to the Elon Musk. Everybody was stuck in their homes,
Mhm.
because at the end of the day, there is humanity that runs through all of us. There's blood that runs through all of us. All of our crap stinks. All of our stuff,
Well, mine
spoils at
mine are
time.
diamonds. We've
Yeah,
discussed my
yours are
crap.
diamonds. I
Diamonds.
forgot. I forgot. You're one of
Shine bright
those.
like a
You're one of
diamond.
those.